hours, let me know, and we can set something up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Let's see. Do we have any gun wraps? No, we don't. Are there any other city or elected officials that wish to give a report? No. Okay. Very good. Okay. We're going to do community announcements now. Now, what this is these are people that have announcements that belong to clubs or groups that have a function that they're going to do, and they wish to announce that function. So that's what this is. This time frame is for. Public comment will be later on in the meeting, but this is for announcements of events. So Regina, you're first, then Sherry Smith, then Ina Menard. Here you go. Here you go. If he's not, you can just stand over here.
First of all, I want to tell you that if you missed the September program about Weatherwolf Castle, the program has been posted up on our website. You can just pull up littlelandershistoricalsociety.org, click on the castle, and you'll get to the program. And I want to thank the neighborhood council for videotaping that program for us. We appreciate it very much. If you haven't heard already, the cemetery tour is October 25th. We're selling tickets pretty fast. I'm really happy. So we're making this as easy as possible. You can order your tickets online, or you can pick up one of these forms, fill in a form, and send in your money. We're raring to go on this. And I want to thank Phil's office for covering the cost of the transportation. Wesley and Councilmember Winkle's office is very gracious in covering the cost of the buses, and the neighborhood council is covering a lot of other costs for us. We appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My name is Sherry, and I'm here to talk about the program Saturday, Golden Museum. We're going to do the history of the June camp. Everybody by now knows about the June camp at the old golf course, right? The Japanese church and down in Tujunga. We're going to do a little more of that. We're going to go back to the 40s and the loot of America community. The tremendous racism that existed in the 40s, and which was painted me to the factory and why the Japanese were locked down. But please come at 1 o'clock, and it's a very simple program, but we'll have a lot of research material there on the table that you can look at while you're there. I think I've got about 80 pounds of stuff. And so we hope you'll see you on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. That's great.
We are having we're having a handmade We are having we're inviting everybody to our Flapjack fundraiser. It's going to benefit the Sunland Tujunga Community Marketing Initiative and the Rory Arts Center jointly. It is this Sunday from 7 a.m. to 12 noon. Deb from the Backyard Bakery is there already shot. And in addition, she's going to be unveiling her rebuilding plan for the Backyard Bakery.
Where's this going to be at?
At McGordy Arts Center.
McGordy Arts Center, okay.
We will also have a flag like that to sell for our St. Lady Angelique Forest. And we have tickets on sale. I will be down at the back door for anybody who wants to buy them in advance. The tickets are going to be $5 in advance or $7 at the door. Thank you very much. Can't wait to see you all there.
Great. Thank you guys so much.
All right, and I wanted to let you all know that this Saturday night at 7 p.m., the lagoon is still going to be pretty full, so Turango Ranch is going to be hosting their first night hike. If you've been paying attention online, if you haven't, that's okay. But we've been doing monthly daytime hikes. They're very family friendly. This is going to be our first nighttime hike, and we're very excited about it. So it's going to be this Saturday. It's October 11th at 7 p.m. and we're going to be meeting over by the bridge at Foothill and Conover Road. So that's right next to the bridge there between Shadow Hills and Lakeview Terrace. We're going to go up towards the old hog farm, and it's really cool. So you should consider joining us. And it's free, it's totally free. We are just all about being the nature center that this town needs, and soon we will be building one, so it's very exciting. And then the next thing is, one more, is that mountain lion presentation. We want you there, even if you're afraid of mountain lions, especially if you're afraid of mountain lions. We want you to go there, and if you want to pick up the flyers are on the back table back there. That was the big information that I left out. That's the second time I told you about it. That's my story.
Excellent. Dana, before you go, you said it's a walk or a...
It's a hike.
Okay, what's the absolute latest they can get there so that they don't miss being in your group?
I would say 7:15.
7:15.
You get there between 7 and 7:15. And if you go to the intersection of Woodhull and Conover, you will see that there is a little parking area there. So you're probably saying to yourself, I know that, and there's nothing there. But if you go there and you slow down, you'll see there's a little secret parking area there.
So if you're into hungry time, be really careful that you make it there.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Aya Hostin. I'm the leadership representative from Virginia Hills High School. Hi. Okay, first off, we're having our homecoming parade, like we always do every year. It's going to be October 17th, Friday, next Friday at our homecoming football game. So we'd like to see all of you guys there. This is for the community. And the date is Friday, October 17th. And then, it's at 7 o'clock. And then on November 19th, I'm the chair of our blood drive, so we run blood drives at the school, and we take kids that are 16 and over at Verdugo, and we accept visitors, so every kind of blood counts, every donor saves 3 lives, and you get a free movie ticket, and that's going to be from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. for big kids. November 19th.
Hello, I'm Deanne again. Here on behalf of the Health Club, we're having a day policy party on October 22nd, Saturday, 1 to 4. And also, don't forget about that beautification cleanup day on October 18th. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Maureen. I'm here to talk about the next cleanup. So we did our first big one and it was so exciting. It was very fun. I can't tell you, we did a lot of cleaning. We did storm drains, we clipped weeds. So we'd love to have a lot of people show up at our next one, which is October 18th, and that's Saturday. It's just going to be a couple hours, 8:30, to 10:30 possibly. And we're meeting in the parking lot of Verdugo Hills Golf Course. So that the target area is going to be Latuna Canyon corner of there, and Tujunga Canyon Boulevard down to Lowell. So this time we need people to bring their own tools. So anyways, we'll have trash bags and gloves, but I hope you can, if you can't come, just maybe spread the word. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, the last speaker part I have for announcements of local events is Nina Royal. So Nina can't come up, stand in line. So I'm going to have her here for this.
Excuse me, Mr. Siegel.
Mr. Kuzman.
I believe I wrote down the wrong number. I didn't realize there was a category for community announcements, which is what one of my public comment non-agenda items was.
Community
So I wrote this is for the Stakeholders Empowerment Enlightenment Coalition.
Okay, do you guys meet in our geographic area?
We are a valley-wide organization of stakeholders.
I'll give you a minute, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. The Stakeholders Empowerment Enlightenment Coalition is a grassroots organization of stakeholders who are seeking to effect reforms within the neighborhood council.
No, this is just to announce meeting, sir.
The meeting we're going to have, our next meeting is on October 27th at 6 p.m. at the Mid-Valley Regional Public Library in North Hills at 16244 Nordoff Street in North Hills. And our keynote speaker is going to be Jay Handel. I have left some flyers on the back, and I'll leave some flyers
Okay,
here.
do you have contact information you want to give to them? Like your phone number?
We have a website. It's seec-reform.com.
Okay.
And all the information will be available.
If you wish to give more data during public comment, you may in the meeting. Thank you. Nina, go ahead, please.
We have a community police advisory board meeting tomorrow night, starting at 6 o'clock, and it's at the Japanese Cultural Center in Koima, and the public is invited. So come on, everybody, we started on breaks, and if you have any comments that you want to make, please attend.
All right, anything else, Nina? Okay, thank you so very much. All right, thank you, everybody. All right, I'm glad that we could get the announcements done early for the local meetings, and that should work out well for people. Next up, 2 items. We have an opening for first vice president position, and do we have any candidates for that position?
Yes, in your packet, item number 12.
Packet, item number 12.
Charlie wants to stand. I don't know if you have any others in the audience.
Mr. Rock, has anybody else submitted an application or form that were interested in that position? No? He indicates no. Charlie? We get to grill you now. Okay, so you are applying for that position. Go ahead and give us your blurb, sir.
Okay. Well, if anyone has a copy of the packet here, there was something that was written that I could read, but what's that? Okay, I'll read it. Well, again, my name is Charlie Bradley. I'm currently the Region 4 representative. So for any of you folks who live south of the boulevard, all of Sunland Tujunga, I am presently your representative. So I got elected in March and got sworn in April. So although I haven't been your representative for very long, it is something that I jumped into with both feet. And on a daily basis, it is my drive to represent not just the folks of Region 4, but all of Sunland Tujunga, the entire community. Now that we have a vacant vice president position, I would be honored if that's a position that would be bestowed upon me, because I will work just as hard or harder as the VP as I'm currently doing to represent the folks of Region 4. So what it says here is, as Region Rep of the Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council, I have for the past several months learned a great deal regarding the needs of our communities. With the Vice President of Community Improvement position vacant, I find myself thinking about needs and solutions beyond just my region. And while I recognize that my tenure on the board has been short, I wish to submit my candidacy for the open position of Vice President of Community Improvement. My background in the United States military, with the California Highway Patrol, my community activism and my volunteer work would prove very beneficial to being able to support the Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council processes and procedures, and be able to lead with the president, or stand in for the president in his absence, which would be one of the major responsibilities of the vice president. And I believe that I'm ready to take on this position, and I would be humbled should I be voted in to do so. So I say all that to say, I live in this community. I'm raising a beautiful little daughter, my little girl. She's 7 years old. She attends school right here at Apperson, also in this community. And I have an undying love for this whole, for my home here. And what I can commit to each and every one of you is I will work tirelessly to be the best vice president that I can be, should you be so gracious to put me into that position. I already work somewhat closely with Mark. He's a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. He's done wonderful things in the president position, and I'd like to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can, so that I can take that knowledge and put it into action for all of you folks here. And for that, I say thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Okay, so, are there any questions from the board for Charlie? Are there any questions from the audience for Charlie?
I have a question. Charlie,
yeah.
what's your top projects, if you have any in mind for community?
Well, the top of the list would be the branding initiative. I think that is something that is not limited to just the vice president position, but our entire community as a whole. And when I think about the branding initiative, I see beyond tomorrow. And I think about, a lot of people aren't aware, but this is something that people have been trying to get, off of the ground since the 70s, right? So when I think about the branding initiative, I think about all of the long-term implications of having a brand for this community with regard to the amount of business that it will bring to the community, the amount of people it will attract as new residents of our community. And when I think about things like that, I think about, my daughter is 7 years old, and what's used for great schools and communities comes from sales tax. So if we have something that can attract much more business to our community, bigger opportunities, that's something that will contribute to the tax base in our community, and that's something that's going to provide for better schools, and it lifts the entire community up when we have something that is overall beneficial for everyone. So that's number one. The other thing is, I look forward to working very closely with Gil Carlson and her committee, the CUB committee, which ties directly into community improvement, because CUB stands for
Clean up and beautify.
Clean Up and Beautification.
Beautification.
Right? So that's also something that's, I think, would be very attractive to people on the outside looking into the potential of doing business in our community, and whether or not they want to invest their money here. Because if we have a beautiful city, that's something that's very attractive to people. If we have a beautiful city, that's something that maybe people will be encouraged to move into in our communities here. And I like making friends and meeting new people, so that's something that I welcome. So those are two of the things that are at the top of the list.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody from the audience have a question? Okay, Susan.
Yeah, my name is Susan Potts. As a region for stakeholders, we get a vote on whether we want to raise Charlie up as
Well, unfortunately, we would have to agendize that for 72 hours in advance, but you're welcome to come to the executive committee meeting next time to get that on. Great question, Susan. All right, Susan. Okay, then I wish to entertain a motion to, and I'm going to need somebody to move it and second it because the chair doesn't ordinarily move a motion. So I wish to entertain a motion that Charlie be appointed as first vice president and that his area 4 rep seat be vacated.
I'll make a motion.
I guess.
I got it.
I guess Pat Kramer's first name. She's moving it. And let's let Nina second it. She's fine with that. And Nina seconds. All right. Do we have to roll call vote? Okay. All in favor? Please raise your hand. It looks like it's 15-4. Are there any opposed? Okay, any abstentions?
I think they were all close in the back. They all had their hands.
I didn't see Charlie vote. Charlie, are you abstaining?
I'm not. I don't know.
You voted for? I voted for. Okay, so that sounds good. All right. I think you're now the first vice president. Congratulations. So I will now announce that there is an opening for Region 4 rep to work with Maureen. And I also need to announce that our secretary has sold her house and will be moving out of the area. And I guess she must have sold it while she was sitting here.
And I'd like to, just to know that David Barron arrived, he's also a board member. John Lowry, too.
Oh, John, when did you come, John?
Oh, yeah.
We need it for the minutes for done. So when
About
is
20
that?
minutes ago.
Okay. All right, very good. So please add John and David in as votes.
I have one question for secretary position. Is there an age limit for that? I mean, no. Does it have to be 18 and over?
No, you can be as old as you want.
I was thinking of younger people. I was thinking.
The bylaws, I think, is 16 is the youngest, and somebody can be on the board. We'll have to double check. I'll have to double check.
I was thinking of one of our, Verdugo Hills High School leadership center.
Okay, now, what the board people want me to tell you is that you have to be 18 or older to vote on anything that has to do with money. Or any issues that are related with that. So you cannot vote on anything that has to do with those things, work, employment of somebody. So, but you can come and vote on other things like we've voted on so far, some of the things. So, and you have to be at the executive meeting, and you have to be at this meeting. And if anybody's interested, we can give you further details. We'll announce it on the website as required by the bylaws. Nina? I have no idea. You'll have to ask.
We thought you were working
I'm
with
sorry?
us, really?
Now,
We have someone.
for those of you out there that don't know, we have to announce the position being open 30 days before the meeting before when it can actually be voted on and people being appointed. So if you wish to fill the group rep position for Area 4, you have to live in Area 4. Or if you wish to be secretary, please fill out an application with Mr. Rock. Where do you go?
Actually, Mark, it just gets posted publicly, and if you submit a statement of interest, like you see Charlie's here, and submit it to the board, and it will be on the next agenda. So this time next month, when the city attorney is here, you can be voted in.
And just to let y'all know, I'll see you probably next week, so think about it, and we can discuss anybody that's interested in it, and how to write a letter of interest for you, okay?
Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. All right, recommendations from the Cleanup and Beautification Committee and request for funding. Ms. Carlson, would you like to I'm sorry? Would you like to give it, you can give an update report first if you wish.
Well, we had a really awesome turnout of over 60 people at the cleanup on September 27th. And I want to say thank you to everybody who made posters that's in the room and all the sponsors that we had, Costco, Subway, McDonald's, and Fresh and Easy. Fresh and Easy is going to continue to help support us.
And who put all that together?
I don't know. It was a group effort.
She did an awesome job.
So we're having another cleanup, as Maureen said, on October the 18th.
Okay, guys,
We'll
can you
get
catch
another one November the 15th. That'll probably be more in the Sunland area of Oro Vista and Big Tonga Canyon and Mount Gleason, which it's really trashy there. And we need a lot of help. So we need like a lot of people for that one. That's it for that.
Okay.
And then Roger's not here, but we are working on getting trees on Foothill Boulevard. We are working on getting retailers to support the tree in adopting it and watering it, bottom line. And the other thing is, the other funding right here, we need money for Roundup for the weeds on the sidewalks.
And Foothill Boulevard.
And the curbs.
So do you wish to make a motion for that?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
for that.
So I'll entertain your motion. I move to vote for up to $100 for weed abatement. Why don't you go ahead and just say what I just said?
I'd like to make a motion for,
I say I move that.
I move that we have about $100, it's about $85 for Roundup.
Up to $100.
Up to $100 for Roundup, for weed cleaning and community improvement.
Excellent. Is there a second? As soon as we have a...
I second that one.
Need a second. Is there a second? John Van Gooden seconds. We're now in discussion. Nina?
From what I understand, Roundup is a vicious chemical for any kind of animals. And so when people are walking their dogs or cats or things like that, and they get a whiff of that Roundup or taste it or anything, it's going to harm them. So is there something else that you should use in place of Roundup that's non-toxic? So I want the word, then I want the word Roundup taken off.
Okay.
Well,
It's just,
but I want the word Roundup taken off. Because I don't want to use it.
Actually, can I clarify? It's not in, she's been saying it, but the motion doesn't read that way. It's weed abatement.
All right, as long as it's not really toxic.
okay, so we should change it to the word herbicide instead of Roundup. Is that correct? Okay. Is that good for the second also? Okay, very good. Are there any other questions on this motion?
Well, can we just make sure, like, it's not poison?
John Lau, yes? Read the motion again. Okay, Madam Secretary?
I'm going to fill in here. It's a motion to spend up to $100 for weed abatement on Foothill Boulevard.
Okay, very good. All right. Any other discussion? John, was that good for you? Okay, great. Dan, please.
I would really prefer us to, like, be able to know what chemical is being used, or, for sure, Roundup is a no, but not the generic equivalent of it, or other poisons that are going to be messing up the ecosystem. So, I don't know how we want to word it, but I just want to make sure that we're not doing poison.
Can I speak?
Well, Cindy had suggested we put in the words pet-friendly herbicide or animal-friendly. Animal-friendly, would that be good, Dan?
Is there an animal-friendly herbicide? Is there such a thing?
Yeah.
I just found one on the internet, it's not only that.
Please. 1 second, please. Okay, we're trying to clarify. Okay, so if it's an animal-friendly herbicide, that would be what you're looking for? Dana?
I'm not sure if I'm using the word herbicide, but
part of the problem is that some of the areas, there's lots of weeds on the sidewalk, and nobody's taking care of it, and it's just to help make the area look more beautiful. If we can have something that is also effective, that's non-toxic, fabulous. I'm all about that too.
Okay.
I have a comment. I'm sure, Gail, because you're a dog walker, that you would understand where our concerns are. If you're walking to people's dogs, you don't want them to step on something that could get into their bloodstream and poison them. And I'm sure that's something that you'd be concerned with. We just wanted to convey that was, where we were coming from on that.
Okay. All right, very good. Any other questions? Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, sir. Yeah. Should we use balsamic or white vinegar?
White vinegar.
Thank you.
I
Yes.
just downloaded a homemade non-toxic weed killer. There's about 15 recipes for it. It's pretty simple and it doesn't hurt anything.
If you could provide that to Gail after the meeting, that would be great. Thank you so much. After the meeting. Cindy.
So I have a question. The motion is for weed abatement, so it doesn't really specifically address any chemical.
Okay.
Neither does her financial support request. So, that could be scraping the ground with a tool and things like that. So I guess we'll just place it into the minutes that we're not expecting any harmful chemical. Is that right? Is that what you want me to do?
Is that good for you guys? Okay, wonderful.
I have a question. And I'm not sure the extent of the weeds that we're looking to eradicate, but if there is a like turnout the next time, as the last time, 60 folks, what's the possibility of just pulling the weeds? Because then there's no cost associated with it, and you don't have to worry about trying to make some concoctions or, you can just pull them right out of the ground.
Mr. Vice President, I think you and she could work that out.
Especially if there's going to be 50 to 60 folks, that's a lot of hands.
We will be pulling weeds, for sure. Yeah, it's mainly for the larger ones. Because some of them look like trees. But, yeah, we'll be pulling weeds. You can bet on them.
Okay, very good. Any further questions from the board? Any questions from the audience? Yes.
Well, that non-toxic killer that I came up with, actually, it's boiling water first and then vinegar kills the weed. Put boiling water on it first and then you put white vinegar on it, it's white.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. All right, let's move to a vote. Do we have to do a roll call vote? Okay, since we know who's here, according to the city attorney. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? It's unanimous. Congratulations. All right, our next motion, I'm going to go to some motions that are refills from last year. And it's number 18 and number 19, because these are things that we already voted on, but because Dunn has changed the rules, we need to re-vote on these, because it's a different fiscal year. So 18 is funding discussion and possible action that STNC pay $200 for STNC name display at Apperson Street Elementary. And I'm going to hand it over to Charlie. He'll be the mover. And who's the second? Do we have a
I would second Maureen.
Maureen seconding. Okay, very good. Let's open for discussion. You being the mover of the motion, Charlie, do you have any questions? I'm sorry. Do you have anything to discuss?
Well, I would just like to announce what it is that the money is paying for. Apperson Street Elementary School has a wall, and they, as a part of a fundraising initiative, they sold bricks that could be engraved and then placed on the wall, sort of like a mural. And last fiscal year, we voted on and approved $200 for the purchase of 2 bricks that is going to represent the Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council. And as Mark alluded to, because it was approved in the last fiscal year and basically right up to the end of the fiscal year, there was a disconnect between the approval and the money to pay for it. So this agenda item is something that has already been approved and moved forward, and the bricks have already been made. So the company that made the bricks, they made the bricks on our word that we would purchase those bricks. So I'm respectfully requesting approval to pay for them since they're already made.
Okay, any further questions? All right, very good. We'll move to motion. All in favor, please. Oh, we have to do this one, a roll call. Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much for everybody.
Can I make a request?
Yes, ma'am.
If you could take a picture of the bricks from where we need to turn that in with our paperwork.
Oh, definitely.
Great. Excellent, thank you.
And then we want a picture of you blowing the bricks, too.
Sounds personal.
I think I can make that happen.
Okay.
I'll wear something nice.
There you go. The next one will be number 19. Funding discussion, possible action to STNC paid a $300 for doggy waste bag dispensers at Sunland Park, and it's apparently also would be at here at Finn Park also. Gail, do you want to go ahead and say you're moving that motion?
I'm moving that motion for the doggy waste bags that will go along with the Felipe Fletcher's Pay waste stations.
Very good. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Brenda seconds it. Let me explain really quick what happened is, we passed this motion last year with the old board, and it fell into the same crevasse that did the bricks for the elementary school. It was all approved by Dunn and everything, I went to pay for it, payment would not go through, even though Dunn assured me that it would. So that's why we have it back on here for this year. And is there any discussion?
I have a question. I do remember the reason that we put budgetary items in at the very end of the fiscal year was to use the money that we had in our account before it would return to the general fund.
Yeah.
So why didn't they pay it? And did we lose that money anyway? I can answer that question. Okay. The vendor, we're trying to get the charge to go through, it wouldn't go through. So it's a technicality, and we missed the deadline, trying to work it out. So, because they cut off early. Okay.
Right. So,
Now there's a new vendor. There's a lower, more economic vendor.
so is there any more discussion before we move to a vote? John?
I completely get what doggy bag waste gloves containers are. I have no idea how they interrelate with Councilman Fuentes' doggy way stations. Can you tell what are doggy way stations that were promised?
Okay, most parks around,
Do they not also have these gloves in them? Seems like they would. So are we double covering, and can we save this money, or move it to another way station in another place? Or
the agreement was made that he would pay for, our councilman would pay for the device that dispenses the doggy bags if we, the neighborhood council, pay for the doggy bags. That was the, and the station still come with bags.
It's basically the holder for the bags that Mr. Fuentes is covering the cost of, and the installation. And as Wesley said earlier, it'll be handled and installed by Rec and Parks, and as will the bags, the installation of the bags. That's what I heard him say. But the cost, the direct cost for the bags, is what the neighborhood council is going to cover.
the other thing I see is that it says here, STNC pay up to $300 for doggy waste bag dispensers. I think we have to reword that.
Good, that needs to be
That's
true.
what's wrong.
A typographical error. Thank you for pointing that out.
So, remove the word dispenser.
Should say waste bags. Thank you for pointing that out, sir.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do we know how many bags the $300 is going to purchase? And at what rate will we have to invest the $300 again to replenish them?
That's a great question. Do you remember how many bags it was that we could get?
I believe it was 800, 800 to 1,000. Now Wesley says that the city of LA requires that we have recyclable baggies, correct, Wesley? So they cost more. So the biodegradable, sorry, biodegradable.
Right. And
There's a lot of doggy bags you can get at the 99-cent store, and they're very cheap, but they're not biodegradable. So being that we're working here as the city function, advisors to the city, we have to use biodegradable items.
And as a point of information, the dispensers are supposed to say that the bags are being donated or supplied. I can't remember exactly what were done preferred by the neighborhood council, so it's also an outreach device to let people know what we're doing for the community. And the other thing is that now that the city has outlawed plastic bags, there's going to be a lot less bags out there for people to use to take care of their doggies' waste product.
So honestly, to answer your question about how many baggies, I don't know who asked that. Is that you, Charlie?
Yes.
I don't know with the new vendor that Wesley has, I don't have any information on the new vendor. So, and Mark had the last information, so I don't have knowledge about that.
It's the same vendor as Great Western, it's the same vendor.
Okay. All right, so any further questions?
So going forward, can we look forward to having to budget for this once a quarter, twice a year? I know it's hard to tell now because it's brand new, so we have no barometer for the frequency with which they're used. But regardless of how frequent it is, whether it's, if they're all gone in a month, next month are we going to have to allocate $300 more to the purchase? Or how are they going to be replenished in perpetuity? I guess is my question. So is this something that from now on we're going to have to always budget for?
Well, that's a good question.
Yes, we will need to budget, or it will be like at Bolton Hall, where they have a doggy wait station where there's no doggy bags there. People just bring plastic doggies and fill it. So if we want to have less dog deposits, I mean, a lot of people buy their own bags, but if you want to have people, hopefully, if maybe they ran out, they need a poop bag.
That was something that can be, if a company want to mark themselves, they can donate whatever.
Thank you, it's a great suggestion. They do that in Ventura.
Like if I have a, pet food place, I want my name on the bag, or it's kind of printed, or.
Can they put their name on the bag?
Not on the bag, it's on the
dispenser.
It's like on the back of the dispenser.
Sponsored by whatever, that's not.
So, I'd like to answer Charlie's question about in perpetuity. I think it's really in perpetuity, really. But this is a test drive, and we'll see how it goes. And the neighborhood council's leading it off.
Oh, I'm not opposed to it. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying I just think we need to get it into our minds that this is something going forward we're always going to have to do. Because once they run out, we'll have to replenish it.
That's where someone in the community.
That's right.
We could bring you a few bucks out of Rotary. John?
I think his idea about going to test marks
Yeah, I think that the COE committee should look into that. Can I call for the question? Yes, sure you can. Let's move to a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, passes unanimously. Excellent. So we can take care of our oldest business, so to speak. Let's go back to 13B. The DOT beautification committee's request for the DOT power panel boxes. And there's a errata sheet in your package that shows the paint that they're looking for. Let's go ahead and move your motion, and let's get a second and then go into discussion on it.
I'd like to make a motion to get funding for paint, to seal the painting on the Department of Transportation art mural program that we're working on for Sunland Tujunga on Foothill Boulevard. It's for the cost of about $100 per box for protecting the paint once the mural has been put on.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second so that we can discuss the motion?
I will second.
Maureen seconds it. Okay. Do you wish to give more information on how that works or what it's needed for?
Well, I'm working with Wesley. We're still in the process of trying to get some supplemental funding for the artists. Thank you for 2 of you that are in the house. Thank you so much for being here. In our back row, you guys can stand up, some of our artists. And Damien? And I forgot your name? Geraldo. Okay, they may be actually doing art for us that will be around for up to 10 years if we can preserve it with this paint. That's what this is. This request is for. The paint that will go over the project. And now to the board, I passed out the locations of where the Department of Transportation boxes are on the first page, from east to west on Foothill Boulevard. The first one on Pally, on the south side. You can see them right now. the back page here, you'll see this is, I just printed off the detail that Boyle Heights did, where they have all the different streets and then the picture of the DOT box. So that's what, when you go to a stop sign, you see a big gray box on either the south or north side of Foothill. In many communities all over the United States and California, they've done artwork, beautiful artwork, to help beautify the community. So we're just looking for funding to support that. On the back page is some suggestions, but not recommendations of any kind of things that can be used to the inspiration from nature and wildlife. So this is not necessarily that artists are required. Artists are unique people and they have their own vision of what art is. So these are just some photographs that I printed off. You can all see some of the nature that we have and wildlife in our area. And then the second page here is the call to artists for the dimensions and the requirements for doing the art.
Do you have more of those? We don't seem to have them down here. Take the middle of the table.
We just recently, actually, Councilman Fuentes, his communication director, did a video with an interview with myself and Christy Clark about this program. So it's really good advertising for our community. And they showed the street and they showed the blank gray boxes and they showed other areas around the communities. Eagle Rock's doing it. They're doing 17 boxes right now as we speak. Venice Beach has them, Mar Vista, Oakland, New York City.
Okay, very good. Let me ask you a question from the chair. The paint that you're suggesting here, I'm sorry, the cover, I guess, of the sealant, is this something that the DOT suggested to you? For which brand or what kind or something or what?
Yes, it lasts for up to 10 years.
Okay, so the department
with the sun and dirt.
So, I have a question.
Ms. Claiborne.
So, I understand about the project and I think it's great. I am not sure that we've seen all of the, this is an amount of money. How do we know that this is enough for these spots that you've chosen? And also, how do we know, because we don't have, we don't have the choices of the artwork that's going to be painted on them yet? Is there,
Well, we're getting Geraldo. Would you like to?
Is the committee already involved?
If you could have
Geraldo is on our arts committee.
A microphone would.
Arts, recreation, and culture committee. Christy couldn't be here tonight.
And let me explain. The reason why I'm asking the question is because I feel like we're doing it kind of in pieces, and I want to see the whole package. That's all.
Good evening, everybody. Geraldo here. Christy is organizing people. I'm part of that people that is submitting our work. She's putting it together still. It's not a whole project development. We're still developing. We're still requiring for people to submit our work that can be put on those boxes. Also, what she's asking for protection for the field that is against graffiti. So in case somebody comes and attacks, it can be removed without affecting the paint underneath.
Can paint every building?
Well,
that's a rhetorical question.
The can survive. But it's still in development. Christine, she couldn't be here.
Yeah, Christy,
hopefully, next month we can give you a whole package of some samples of what has been approved and what is going to be done. So you can all see.
Because the reason why I'm asking is I know that the artwork will likely be, great and compatible with the community. However, we haven't got to that point. And so while we might approve $1,000, we might find that the artwork is such that it might, and I ask this because I put ink on paper. And ink on paper, depending on how much you put on, is how much coding you also need. So that's the reason why I'm asking.
Well, where's the doors?
Sorry.
Very few boxes, I think it would be about thousands of dollars. Mainly if you can get a recommendation that kind of chemical film can be used for. It's a special hardware that people can come over and just clean the graffiti.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. And then, Marlene.
Yes,
And then,
I would like to report on that issue from the Arts, Culture, and Recreation Committee meeting tonight. And we have the same feeling or the same thoughts that Cindy has expressed, in that we don't really have enough detailed information to be able to vote on that much money. So we decided to take the issue. And then there's some talk around wondering if it's possible to combine some of the beautification efforts. We have 3 going. That last part is probably irrelevant. That we did not approve the painting of the boxes on the Arts and Recreation.
You mean the covering?
The covering on the Arts and Recreation Committee.
Okay. So you tabled it, you're saying?
For more information.
Pat?
I would move that we table this till there is a full report, until the arts, what's the name of the committee? The arts and...
Okay.
The thing is Christy's going to be gone at the next board meeting as well.
I still move that we table it until we have more information. I don't think we have enough information.
Okay, there's no discussion on tabling. I need a second if it wishes to be tabled. Is there a second to table?
I second that one.
I have a continuing seconding. Okay, all in favor of tabling the motion? There's no, for tabling motions, you can't have discussion. It's not allowed in parliamentary procedure. So, all in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Opposed to tabling.
Is there any opposed? Or any abstention?
I'll oppose table.
Is there any abstention?
All right, very good. All right, so this motion is tabled till next month. That was 13B. Okay, 14. Discussion of possible action on December 11th, 2014, Valley Alliance Neighborhood Councils, VANG, will hold a planning forum to educate neighborhood councils on the city's land use process. Cindy, would you care to move the motion?
Yes, I so move.
Okay, she so moves, requesting $100 for refreshments as a part of the shared cost for this event. Is there a second?
I second.
Brenda seconds. Okay, we're in discussion. Cindy would like to explain.
Yes. The Valley Alliance of Neighborhood Councils represents 35 neighborhood councils in the valley. Every 2 years they hold a planning forum. They bring out representatives from the city planning department, land use experts, who 2 of which will be are representing projects in our area, as a matter of fact. The training is held on December 11th. It's a Thursday evening, and it's primarily for the land use committee's chairs and their committee members, as well as the neighborhood council board are welcome. And what we're doing with this $100 is sharing in the refreshments cost only.
Right. And just for a matter of information, we've done this 5 years in a row with giving some support. And there are many other neighborhood councils that also are that help with this too. Are there any questions? All right. Shall we move to a vote? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The vote is unanimous. All right, very good. So we will give $100 to the bank for their meeting. Number 15, discussion and possible action regarding CF 13-1364. Council President Wesson is holding a joint rules committee and ethics commission meeting at Van Nuys City Chambers on Wednesday, October 15th at 6:30 p.m. to discuss municipal elections reform, including possible consolidation with the county and state elections. And I'll pass this off to you, Cindy, because you're the one with the knowledge on it.
Okay, in your packet, there's the actual resolution, city council resolution for item 15. And I'll just preface this whole thing by neighboring councils have been requested to submit more council file community impact statements. So this is that type of submittal. This is a council file that an item that's coming before the city council, and our comments will be listed in the agenda when it appears on the agenda before the council. So my request is that we submit there's a third page to this as follows. The Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council supports the City of Los Angeles Election Reform Commission recommendation to move the dates of the city's regular primary and general municipal elections from the current schedule of March and May of odd number years to a new schedule of June and November of even number years.
Okay, might I ask, why would they do this, and how will that save the city? Oh, is there a second for this? John Lowy seconds. Okay, why would they do this?
Well, mainly because of cost, and brings everybody out to vote at the same time.
So you're saying all these different elections would be combined into the same election? Rather than have three separate elections, you'd have one election with all the same things combined together.
That's what I'm saying is...
Oh my God, the city wants to save us money? Incredible. Okay, are there any questions? John Lowy.
The question that I'm asking about the big reason for this is
correct.
Okay, very good. Any other comment?
Is this for city?
All right, very good. Would this also include county elections and state or federal elections all put onto the same thing?
Yes.
Everything. Okay, any other questions? All right, let's move to a vote. All in favor of supporting this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wow, that's a loud response. All opposed? And any abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Very good. All right. Hey, you guys out there in the audience from the high school, are we boring you to death, or what do you think of real democracy? It's exciting, isn't it? Are you guys getting credits for being here? If you leave, will you lose the credits?
Hey, we're getting through this agenda pretty good.
We're actually very good.
We're moving along.
Okay, we are cranking through this. So now this next one, you guys might be interested in. This one's about street vending, and you guys have probably seen the street vendors out there. So the little carts and stuff. Okay, discussion of possible number 16. Discussion of possible action. CF 13-1493. Street vending. Street vending is currently illegal. This council file motion is to obtain a report to determine possible regulations for effective permits for both food and merchandise vending, ways to ensure street food vendors provide safe and healthy food while considering the rights and investments of brick and mortar businesses. There are currently 8 neighbor councils who voice their opinion. And what is our opinion? Ms. Claiborne.
So here's my proposal. It's in your packet, and the actual motion from the city council is in there as well. And this is what I'm proposing that we vote on. The board of the Sunland Tujunga Neighborhood Council is opposed to legalizing and permitting street vending of food and merchandise on city sidewalks and parkways. The board of the STNC authorizes its presidents to submit a letter outlining the issues related to street vending and delineating conditions which should be included in the regulation and enforcement provisions of any street vending ordinance. This motion will be submitted as a community impact statement to CF 13-1493. The street vending has many negative impacts, including the creation of health hazards from the unsanitary and unregulated food distribution, the creation of safety hazards when children run across the street to vendors across from parks and schools, traffic hazards from vehicles illegally parked to purchase from sidewalk vendors, particularly in areas with inadequate adjacent parking, the creation of unfair competition with licensed small restaurants and other businesses, creating an unhealthy environment by generating trash, food, and beverage residue and increased animal excrement all in the public right-of-way, intrusion into residential neighborhoods, impacting private property rights, and the blocking of sidewalks, impeding pedestrian access.
Is there a second? It looks like Nina Royal seconding. Okay, well, we're open for discussion. Does anybody have any comments or questions on this? Nina?
Nina, we can't hear you over here.
As well. She's suggesting that we add that it lights the neighborhood as well.
All right. So, make a motion. Do you accept that?
Yeah.
And that's the second. She automatically accepts
So
it.
let's go through. Question, how would that affect gourmet food trucks?
This isn't about food trucks, this is street vending.
Oh, okay.
Unemployment people. I mean, like people working on the streets, and that creates some unemployment.
Well, street vending right now is illegal. It already is now.
Well, it's been illegal for a long time. I mean, what the city's going to do? I mean, you're just going to propose something in the paper and do nothing? The free is good for I've been there for a long time.
The right-hand side. Okay, so now, what's George's question?
No, the question is, what is this going to do? I mean, this been in the city for a long time. I mean, what's it going to do now? How compared to the past?
Okay, good question, Cindy. How will this change what's happening now? Does it cause, do they have to get licensed, or they just can't vend, or what?
The city, it's illegal now. The city is proposing to, by reading the ordinance and by reading the description here, this council file motion is to obtain a report to determine possible regulations for effective permits for both food and merchandise vending. So now you're going to have the city responsible for some type of enforcement. Who's going to pay for that permitting process? So street vendors can go, they have to create, the city would have to create that process or procedure.
Okay, so
right now, if you're a food truck, you go through the health department and there's legal things to be a food truck, but there isn't in the city for being a vendor directly on the street, whether it's food or merchandise.
Okay, so let me clarify, because that's not exactly what I heard, is that what we are doing is we're voting to tell them yes, to authorize a report to give to the city on this subject, according to what it says in what you said.
No, I'm supporting the community impact statement that I read.
Right. Okay. So, but it's submitted on a motion to do a report on licensing.
Well, they're already doing that. We're submitting comments on that council file.
Okay. All right. John Van Booten and then John Maliafu.
Cindy, I just wanted to understand, is the intent of your proposed letter to voice opposition to any licensing, permitting of these vendors so that they continue to be illegal? Is that the intent of your letter?
I'm opposed to legalizing and permitting street vending, yes.
Good, thanks.
Okay. John Maliafu?
Two questions. One is, 8 other neighboring councils have submitted their report or their recommendation on this. Do you know where they were?
Similar to this. Yes.
Because I have a problem with the idea of being against allowing permits to
regulated at all.
So if I hear you correctly, you prefer something that allows a permitting process as opposed to not allowing them at all, correct?
It'll continue.
Okay.
It'll continue to not be regulated at all.
Okay. Nina? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Anita?
My problem is that even if they made some kind of conciliatory thing of saying, okay, you can do it for 1 day or what have you, we have no code enforcement. And, I mean, that's the truth. We have no code enforcement in the city, very little. And we would turn around looking like New York City where they put blankets on the streets. And I'm telling you, that's my friend, and that's what they do. So I think that they should keep it illegal or keep it at a minimum because they don't enforce it anyway.
David's next.
Okay. Charlie?
Since it's illegal now, is there any sort of prosecution, any sort of fines or citations that are written?
We've been fortunate that with our senior leads who depending on their ability and priorities, to deal with removal of street vendors now.
But they at least try to.
Let me open up to the audience and see if they have any opinions on it. Oh, first we'll get Brenda and then we'll go to the audience.
Cindy, the other end of the councils, did any of them suggest permitting or licensing at all? Did they?
Not that I'm aware of. I've heard that some of the communities more in the East LA area and that the city may look at some sort of a special district, so that there'll be an area where you can go and like a marketplace. So they'll do it within that kind of confines.
Consolidated into one.
Okay, the board's, okay, you're temporarily full? Okay, Mr. Black?
Yeah, there's no enforcement now, so we need an enforcement mechanism. That's included in the letter.
Yes, then it could.
Okay, thank you for your input. Yes. Basically, we're weighing. I can't answer that question. I can't say for sure. I'm just saying that we're weighing in on a citywide issue. David, Nina says you had.
I can contribute that the only one that's going to benefit is the elected officials bringing in money to their general fund. They want a registration fee of those vendors that they can give. Most of the vendors do not carry any ID, so I am not able to cite the citation to them, and they don't appear in court. But mainly, the city council wants to get as many as they can, bring in vending. Then there is no enforcement because the enforcement department is told to not enforce it.
Okay, thank you for your input. Yes.
Right, and they already are. What we're doing is we're weighing in on it. So our comments at this point. Yeah, correct.
Right. Okay, so we're weighing in for what gets put into that report. Good things. Okay, are there, Mr. Kuzmin, you have a question?
Yes. The one thing that I just want to maybe remind the board now is that you have 6 ways to submit your community impact statement. You don't have to just choose support or not support. You can now support something with conditions. There are new various ways, and this is a recent done resolution that I think was just signed off. So as you consider this motion, you can consider the different ways you can make the community impact statement as well.
All right, thank you for your input. John. Sergio and then John.
No, I just wanted to mention I've seen it in other places where they actually are enforcing it and taking everything out, the cars and everything. But a week later, you'll see the same person again over there. So I'm more for having some kind of legal way to get a hold of them, because they will keep doing it. I mean, even if we're opposed, they'll keep doing it. So we have to find another way. That's probably what the city is trying to do, trying to find another way to have that more into the living room.
Okay, thank you. John?
I just wanted to voice the additional concern that this sounds like, for someone to permit, there has to be some inspection. There's no way to regulate what kind of products the vendors will bring in from where, what kind of liabilities may be associated with them. Suppose someone says, well, I bought this from a city-approved vendor and it choked my child. And now Los Angeles City Council, you are responsible. So if to say nothing of the fact that we're going to have to set up a bureaucracy to permit these guys, and those guys need payments, and can the permit fees be enough to pay for the added bureaucracy? I just don't think so. So I would submit that might be an added point you could toss into your letter, if you choose.
Okay, thank you very much. Good point. All right, any more input from the board on this? Okay, any more questions from the audience? No? Okay, great. Let's move to a vote. All in favor of supporting this, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, now raise your hand if you're opposed. One, okay, John, aye. Marlene, Sergio, and Jorge. Okay, anybody abstain?
I abstain.
Okay, Brenda and Mark abstain. Any other abstentions? Okay, very good. Okay, what is the vote? She's tabulating the votes. Sorry. It's okay. With Dunn's new form, it can be a little bit, take a little time. I could have people raise their
So
hands.
it's 10 in favor, 4 opposed, and 2 abstentions.
Okay, so the motion passes. It is. All right, thank you everybody for your participation in that. All right. Our next motion is funding. Discussion and action and vote that STNC participate in the Sunland Tujunga Community Awareness with 2 light poles. Let's see here, to be located on Foothill Boulevard in the downtown commerce area. Promotion will be on display for 3 months, estimated by Thanksgiving weekend, and tied into the American Express Small Business Saturday Shop Local annual marketing events, with a media promotion included. Charlie, would you like to go ahead and do that?
I so move.
Is there a second? Okay, Jorge seconds it. We're now in discussion. Do you wish to explain the motion or give a wrap?
Okay, so everyone should already have a copy of the voice and choice with a picture of the tentative proposed banner on it. As Mark stated, this isn't a single-use opportunity. It's something that once purchased can be used for basically all of the events that take place within the Sunland Tujunga community throughout the entire year. I'll call your attention to the top of the banner. It's going to have the logo that Damien put together for us. That is now officially the Sunland Tujunga logo. And thanks for coming out tonight, Damien. We appreciate it. And at the bottom, where it has the square at the bottom, where it says sunlandtujunga.org, that's actually a removable part of the banner where it can be replaced with any of the functions that go on within the community. So if we're promoting something that's going on during Thanksgiving, the bottom portion of the banner can have something that pertains to Thanksgiving. If we're promoting Summerfest or Oktoberfest or the 4th of July, any of those activities can be placed on the banner. So it's actually a multi-use banner with functionality for the entire year, for all the events that take place throughout the year. And I think this is a great idea, and it's something that will accompany bringing more business to our community. And at this time, I'd like to actually invite Paulina to come up to add some detail if she wouldn't mind.
Mike's over there. George, there you go. Make sure it's turned on. There you go.
Okay, so everyone has, like Kelly said, the 2-pager in their packet, and basically it walks you through the branding and the marketing and where we've kind of been and why this is important. The STNC back in October was gracious enough to be the first to support the branding initiative, which we absolutely thank you for. And they were also the ones who actually did the big kind of heyday with Damien and Councilman Fuentes and the cake, etc. Now it just continues to move along the plan that we had. A big part of that plan is the awareness part. And just for everybody's understanding, 71% of all development, all deals, all new shops coming into towns, all new restaurants, those deals are done before they ever come and talk to the town. Why? Because they've got a short list. Where do they get that short list from? They get it from online. They check you out up one side and down the other before they ever come to you. Our online presence for Sunland Tujunga is not what it should be. It's not what we deserve it to be. The way to do this is through the branding and the marketing initiative. These banners actually help us quite a bit because we've got all of this traffic coming through town. They don't know that we're here. They don't know what we have to offer. The banners will be designed so that every organization that really is pretty special here will have an opportunity to promote themselves and redirect to their own websites. I'll just give you a little anecdote, and I promise I won't go on here, but today I finally got my nails done because they were so long that somebody was complaining. I don't know who, but somebody. So anyhow, I get my nails done, and I went to Starbucks, and I happened to notice that they had a $20 deal at that little place.